Welcome to the Dental Marketing Heroes podcast, your ultimate resource for mastering the art and science of dental marketing. In each episode, we explore the latest strategies, insights, and success stories to help elevate your dental practice to new heights. And now, here is your host, the founder and president of Dental Marketing Heroes, Ian Cantle.
All right, and welcome everyone to the Dental Marketing Heroes podcast. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so pleased to have a special guest on our podcast today. It's Karen Theimer, and she is a freedom coach and breathwork facilitator. So welcome, Karen. So glad to have you on today.
I'm glad to be here as well. So thank you, Ian.
Yeah, and before we get into our discussion, please share a little bit about what you do and what is a breathwork facilitator and how you help people.
So a little bit about me. My name, like I said, is Karen Theimer. I've been in health and wellness for 19 years now as a massage therapist, but slowly transitioning out. I'm a freedom coach and a breathwork facilitator. And I got on this journey because I've gone through divorce. I've had cancer. I say I'm a cancer thriver. And I was totally stuck in my past. And in 2018, I decided to, because I thought, what's keeping me from moving forward, right? Like I just was living in my past, had a hard time letting go, worked on, there was a lot going on at that time. And in 2018, I went, you know what? I'm going on a healing journey. I have no idea what that means. I just know I need to go find myself and figure this out, right? At that time, I also got introduced to a network marketing company. And I remember going to one of the events and they said something, the speaker said, if your life hasn't changed in the last year or two, or your business hasn't changed in the last year or two, go find out what your blocks are. And it's funny how you're always being guided to what you need to do next, right? If we just listen. So I was like, okay, well, I've got this thing called a block. Went out to one of my mentors and I said, okay, Dr. Bob, what do I need? Like, I got this thing called a block. Nothing's working out. Everything's falling apart. What do I need to do? And he goes, go find a coach, right? That understands network at that time, network marketing, understands the mind and body connection. So I hired a coach, my very first coach. And she helped me understand where some of my blocks were, especially around success, right? Because this stems from our childhood and our past. So I started understanding more about that and then continued on this journey. And then as I started to understand me and my programming and the things that kept me stuck and where I hesitate and overthink things. So fast forwarding, I decided I wanted to be a coach and help people do the same thing, right? What's keeping people stuck and staying safe? And then we added in breath work. Oh, breath work is a whole other journey, right? It's another thing that helps us let go of our past and get more clarity on what we need to do next. Through breath work, we're also regulating our nervous system. So how do you know if you're in fight or flight or if you're in the rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system? So I decided to become a breathwork facilitator. There's always room to grow, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what age you are. I'm excited, to move forward and to help people get connected to themselves, the mind-body connection. We are so many people are so disconnected that it's time we get connected and to be more present.
Yeah.
So that's the short version.
And I think there's real application here for dentists, for their teams, because probably right now you help some of those dentists and their teams with massage, because I know a lot of them deal with health issues because of the positions they're in and that kind of stuff. But when we were talking earlier, it really became clear to me that just because there's so much stress for dentists and their teams, it's a stressful job. You're dealing with people often when they're highly uncomfortable. Anxious people are not always the easiest to deal with. And so I think there's a real application for dentists and their teams. And so that's, really why I wanted to get you on here, to really bring value to those people. So unless you have anything else to share, I'll jump into some questions for you.
Jump in.
All right.
To see how the conversation goes, because I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation here.
Yeah. So why do you believe mindset alone isn't enough for high pressure professionals like dentists?
Why mindset is not just a one thing is because, we can I'm coming in with a great attitude and I feel great today. And yet your nervous system is telling you something different,
Yeah.
right? It's like affirmations as an example. You know, it's the, I am, I don't know, whatever an affirmation people use, right? I'm great, I'm enough, I'm worthy, I'm calm today, but yet your nervous system is telling you something different, right? So I think mindset alone, we still need to regulate our nervous system. And yes, dentistry is a stressful job. I know, like when my hygienist comes in and I go to the dentist, I really focus on my breathing because I do get like, oh my God, is this going to hurt? And what's going to happen? What are they going to tell me? Do I have a cat? Like I can bring myself into like quite the state if I allow my monkey mind, I call it the mind to allow me. So I focus on breath whenever I go to the dentist, whenever I get my teeth cleaned. I bring myself in a trance and just focus on my breathing. And it makes life so much easier, right? So I find for myself.
I remember talking to some dental assistants and I was asking them, what tricks do you use or what are your best tricks to help anxious patients? And one of them said they either give them something tangible to hold on to, like just so that there's a little bit of tactile something going on, or the other one that was really interesting was I asked them to focus on the bottom of their foot, like their toes, like wiggle your toes and just feel the sensation of wiggling your toes. Because if you focus on that, it takes your mind off of what you were anxious about. And I thought that was so interesting.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those kind of strategies out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I know when I go see the chiropractor, I'm always telling them because I can tense up, right? And I'm working through that. I
yeah.
see the benefits of it. Do I always love it? Not really, but I love the feeling after, right? So I'll tell my chiropractor, just tell me a story. Tell me to do something. Wiggle my toes, right? Just something to take my mind off of what you're
Mm.
doing. As soon as he says something, then he adjusts and I can relax. He'll just quickly adjust me,
Yeah,
right?
right. And they're
Exactly.
trying to do adjustments.
Exactly. But same with when we're getting our teeth cleaned or seeing the dentist, right? If we're tense, it's going to make things, it's a gonna, I believe it's going to create more tension in our neck and our jaw,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah, yeah, I can speak from my own personal experience because I'm anxious when I go to the dentist, and sometimes I realize I'm holding on to those armrests really tight, or my body is very tight, and sometimes it's hard to be aware of what's really going on because you're just kind of reacting to the situation.
of course, we get ourselves in a state, right?
Yeah,
Based
yeah.
on something that happened to us in the past.
So I think that segues very well into, what's actually happening to the nervous system during a stressful day at the clinic for the dental team. Talk a little bit about that.
So, if you think about, say, thousands of years ago, right? We're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. We go into fight or flight. So that's our sympathetic nervous system, the heart racing, the blood flowing out to our extremities. Our body is doing exactly what we're supposed to do is keep us safe and run. We're not in danger, but we're designed to run from danger,
Yeah.
right? So it's about keeping ourselves safe. But those everyday things are not danger. What we need to do is and we can't think clearly because the body is not saying, like our brain is not going, okay, I need to like focus on this and I need to, get some more clarity and all that kind of stuff when we're in fight or flight. If you think of also about, say, a deer in the wild, here's another analogy. If you think about a deer in the wild, it's getting chased by the predator. When it feels safe, it shakes it off and then it continues to eat grass. But us humans, we love to hang on to that stuff forever. And then we love to relive that story of whatever that story is, that so and so, upset me. And then we create all this drama around whatever happened. And we live in that. This is why breath work is so important and regulating our nervous system because we can't think straight, we can't focus, we can't get clarity if we're constantly living in fight or flight. We can't be a better boss, or better staff if we're constantly living in fight or flight, whatever that stress is, right? Again, when we focus on regulation, we can become a lot calmer to work with. we can think more clearly. We can produce better work. I mean, it's hard to be, I don't know, some people say, oh, I work better under pressure. Are you? Or do you know how to? And sometimes we do. Sometimes we need that pressure to get things done. But then what do you do afterwards?
I remember years ago, I was a very high adrenaline person. Like everything I did, I brought lots of energy and adrenaline to. And I remember a wiser person that was my age as well at the time and deeply involved in sports that I was. One of the things he just shared with me was like, that's unsustainable. You cannot live in a high adrenaline state forever, right? A high stress state, putting yourself under that stress to perform, right? It eventually catches up to you in one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most diseases are linked to stress.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, so I'm not making any claims of anything, but I believe stress is linked to pretty much everything.
Yeah. And I think there's enough, you know, quantifiable evidence out there now that supports that idea. I'm
Yeah.
not a doctor either. Doctor of marketing. Um,
Yeah, I love that.
so, from a practical standpoint, what are a few simple techniques that dentists, their staff can use between patients to reset themselves and kind of bring this sense of calm?
Starting off with when they wake up in the morning. I mean, a lot of times it can start from the moment you wake up. Pay attention to your thoughts when you first wake up, right? Because I know if my thoughts are going into, whatever's drama might be going on in my life or whatever stress I'm going through, because face it, I'm still a human, right? I have my own stuff. But if I wake up in the morning and my brain, I call it the monkey mind because it will take you on a heck of a journey if you allow it. Those are your thoughts, right? The negative thoughts, the yicky thoughts. Pay attention to your thoughts at the beginning, as soon as you wake up. Ask yourself, is this a thought you want to have all day long?
Yeah.
Because you have, what is it? I think it's like 80% of your thoughts are the same thoughts you had yesterday.
Interesting.
And something along that line, my numbers probably aren't 100%, but something like 80% of the thoughts we have today are the same thoughts we had yesterday, the day before, and the day before. We have to change that. This is what I coach people on, right? Be aware, pay attention of that. Okay, so if it's thoughts you don't want to have, what thoughts would you like to have? Or
Hmm.
maybe you need to just go into gratitude. I remember asking somebody one time when they were going off on, about all their problems. Sometimes it's just be grateful the sun is shining or the rain is there, like watering our plants, whatever that is for you, right? Come into gratitude. Okay, great. What's your breathing like?
Yeah.
As soon as you get to the office, as an example, where are you at? Just take 2 seconds and go, what are my thoughts right now? Okay, maybe I need to focus on a little bit of regulation. Spend 1 or 2 minutes. It doesn't take long. Do some deep breathing. I like the box breathing where you're breathing in
Yep.
slow for 4, pause for 4, and then out for 4 and pause again. Or just breathe in for 4 counts, slow, and then out for 4 counts. Take 1 minute and do that. Start your day. Get your staff doing the same thing. Everybody should be doing the same thing. And then when you're seeing patients, what's playing in the background? Because I know when I used to when I had one dentist, it was always CP24. I don't want to listen to the news. That stresses me out, right? Stresses everybody out, right? So right now, see what you have. If the dental office has a television,
Yeah.
whether it be in the reception area or in the exam room, but that stresses people. So already now people are coming in with stress, right? Because they're thinking about politics and what's happening in the world. That's not good for your nervous system, right? So just maybe have some nice music on or something Zen-like, right? For everybody.
Yeah. And then, so, I think most dentists actually, once they've had a patient for a while, they know who the patients are with high anxiety. They know who the patients are that push boundaries a little bit or, as far as create more tension for the team. So it sounds like even just the box breathing or, having some strategies about gratitude and that kind of stuff can even be helpful to that extent where you're preparing yourself for, I think I'm going into a little bit of a challenging situation. How can I prepare my body and my mind to be at its best to help this person, because ultimately all of the dentists I know, they are there to help people reduce pain, have a longer life, enjoy life more because their teeth are working properly.
Yeah. And also, too, I think when you know you're going into someone, say, who has a high anxiety,
Yeah.
right? I don't know what the dentist or the hygienist does with the patient, but maybe, getting them to do some deep breathing.
Yeah.
1 minute and do some deep breathing. Help the client calm their nervous system down, right? Communicate with them. Like I love my hygienist because she's always checking in. How are you doing? How are you doing? Right? Like, you okay? You okay? Are you breathing? Yes. Right? Things like
I
that.
love the "are you breathing" question.
Yeah. Are you breathing? But also I'm a horseback rider, and my coach will say to me, like, Karen, are you breathing? Oh, right. Because sometimes I forget, right?
Mhm.
Know that people are human, like your clients are humans,
Mhm.
right? And they're going through their own stuff in their own life. You see them for, X amount of time, but it's always remembering that they're going through whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
Remember that they're still a human who have feelings, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when I get clients in, I have to, sometimes I have to remind myself, and am I getting triggered by that person?
Yeah.
And it's like coming back to me. What am I, I need to like focus on myself. I call it the mirror, like what's being shown to me, that I got to take a look at myself and also remember that somebody else is going through whatever journey they're going through, right? So compassion, that's the word I was thinking of. Have compassion for that person.
Yeah. What a great idea too, because I think there can be a tendency, especially in a busy day, right, where you're moving, dentists or the rest of the team are moving from treatment to treatment to treatment. You can almost get hyper focused on the micro level of where you're almost just focused on the treatment or the actual teeth or the lack of teeth or
Yeah,
or the holes you're drilling or whatever it is, that
sure.
you're forgetting that it's a human being that you're working on, right? And it can become very clinical rather than human to human. Yeah.
And I've been to different dentists, I've had different hygienists. Some have been amazing, some have not been so great. I mean, that's in any profession,
Yeah.
right? And this is at the end of the day, yeah, we need to remember that we're all humans. And yeah, don't see it as like you were saying, right?
One of the questions I wanted to ask you was, how does a dentist's nervous system affect their team and the overall environment of their practice? So, we're talking about kind of the leader of the band, the person that sets the tone for the rest of the team and who everybody else answers to some degree. How does what they're dealing with, especially related to their nervous system, affect everybody else, and even the patients?
Yeah, great question, because we're energy beings. So we can always, like, have you ever gone into a room and just went, ooh, something's icky here? And you
Yeah.
don't even know why. You just
Yeah.
feel this ickiness, right? Or you meet somebody and you're like, oh my God, I love this person. Like, they're so kind, and I feel relaxed around this person. That's energy, right? When the boss comes in and is all stressed out, that energy expands. And everybody else is going to feel that energy of like, holy geez, something's happening here, right? The body is now automatically going into there's danger.
Yeah.
So that's how it can affect everybody. It's like, and just think about it when you walk into that room, and if there's a fight going on, as an example, right? People are arguing, you're going to feel that tension right away. So if when the boss, the dentist comes in, I think it's important she needs to check in with themselves before walking into the office.
Yeah.
Where are they at? Because that is going to set the tone for the day, right? Again, I don't know, like, does everybody come in at the same time? Could they maybe, I don't know, have, a 1 minute, let's just pause for a second. I mean, I don't know if this is possible or not, but if it is, I think it would be a great way to add in to the day. How about everybody just pause for like a minute or two and just close your eyes, set the tone for the day. Maybe check in,
Yeah.
and maybe then everybody needs to check in individually with themselves throughout the day, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it would be my personal opinion. I think it would be a great way to start the day.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there that would be like, that would be really nice.
my suggestion, one of the two. But but it's a great way. I mean, face it, don't you feel better when you're relaxed? People
Yeah.
go on vacation and you get this like, ah, but we can do that at any time. We don't have to be living like this all the time.
Yeah. And certainly your patients feel it, right? Like
Gotcha.
I think we've all experienced it when we've gone into a doctor's office, any kind of experience where, you're like, something's going on here.
Even when you go
They're tight or
shopping.
clipped with you or,
Yeah. Like I went to IKEA a couple of weeks ago, and the salesperson, well, I was in such a great mood, right? But the salesperson was miserable. And I could feel that soon as I walked, but she was the only salesperson there, right? But I was just like, whew, in my head, right? Someone's having a bad day, right? This sharpness in her tone,
Mm,
this couldn't care less about, me. And in my head, I'm just thinking, wow, or I wonder what's going on in her day. So just be kind because I don't
yeah.
know what's happening in her life, right? And nor is it's not my thing, but it's also important to be kind, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
again,
and there's
feel it.
there's reciprocation that happens as human beings, right? When somebody is more positive to us, we will in turn be more positive with them. Usually, not always, but
Depends. But most of the time, right?
yeah.
Kindness goes a long way,
Yeah.
right?
Let's talk about transformation. So what changes when someone learns how to regulate their nervous system consistently? So we're talking about kind of the long-term effect of it.
So it can help improve your health. Again, I'm no doctor, but I believe that when we're not living in such a stress, well, we can enjoy life a lot more, right? I think it helps with longevity.
Hmm.
I mean, don't we all want to age with grace at the end of the day? And we don't know when our time is up. So which do you prefer? Do you want to live in fight or flight, being stressed out all the time and the world is a miserable place? You create your own, right? The or do you just want to live like your life and enjoy it in
Hmm.
this nice, calmer, more peaceful state? Because you don't have to live in this craziness all the time. So I think it
Yeah.
helps I do believe it helps with longevity. I do believe it helps with our health. It can contribute to living a healthier lifestyle and enjoy. I mean, at the end of the day, don't we just want to enjoy our life?
Yeah.
I believe.
You talked about something called the pattern interrupt question. So what is that? And how can someone tell if they're operating from stress versus a regulated state? And how can this pattern interrupt question be used?
What's the weather like where you are?
Kind of gray, kind of drizzly.
There's a pattern interrupt right there, depending on what you're talking about, right? When we're overthinking, when we're hesitating, and we get caught up in a loop, if you're constantly complaining about the same person, about the same thing over and over and over again, you're stuck in a pattern. You're stuck in a
Mm,
loop, right? Again, especially with overthinking things like, oh my God, what happens if you get this wrong? So what I do is I help people see the pattern because when you're in the pattern, in the loop, you can't always see it because it's so close and right in front of your face. So what I do is I help people push that a little bit farther away so they can see the pattern they're in.
mm,
As an example, I love personal development. I love taking courses. What I didn't love before, and I still work through it because I can get my pattern, right? If I learn something new and it's challenging, I'll go find anything else to do but that thing. So taking action, right? We need to learn, educate ourselves, and then take action, which then creates the wisdom, right? Many people get stuck in I'll say the personal development, the constant learning, learning, learning. So again, if we don't take action to change or to do the thing, then we're stuck
yeah.
in this pattern. Many people know that they're stuck in like in a pattern. They might not have a name for it as a pattern, but they'll say things like, why can't I let this go? Why can't I move forward? Why can't, I do the thing that I know I'm supposed to do? But then they don't do it anyway, or they go to do it and then it's scary or it's challenging, it's uncomfortable. And right now I'm taking a course in learning YouTube and marketing. And there's certain things that, I have tests to do. And it scares me. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, and then the brain will say, "Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Let's go get more education," as an example. This is me, right? And so I'll go do that. But now I've learned, Karen, just rip off the Band-Aid. Go do the thing that's supposed to be uncomfortable. You're not supposed to know what to do because you're just learning this. So there's different stages to learning as well. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable, but the faster you feel uncomfortable doing a new thing, the easier it gets. Even if that's putting up a boundary
Hmm.
with somebody. Say no. You don't have to please the world. You don't have to carry the weight on your shoulders. You can say no to things, right? So it can show up, these patterns can show up in so many different ways. So now I rip the Band-Aid off a lot faster because I know I have my goals, I have my dreams. And if I stay in this hesitation and overthinking everything, I know I'm not going to get to where I want to be faster.
One of the things I've noticed in my own life when I'm procrastinating on something that I know I must do, it's important, right? If I see myself or if I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm doing something I'm about to do something I actually really don't want to do and haven't wanted to do for a long time, meaning it's not even that important. It's not even that urgent, but it's just for some reason it looks more palatable now than ever because of this other thing that I'm avoiding. That's a sign for me for sure.
On my website, for those who are listening, and I'm sharing this because I have a PDF on my website. It's called Declutter Your Mind.
Mm,
So that's another thing too. When we go into overwhelm and we have 800 things that are on our to-do list, and please surrender to the to-do list. We will always have a to-do list. And if you
mm,
don't have a to-do list, then you're not growing,
right.
challenging yourself more, right?
Yeah.
So, however, we can be overwhelmed. So on that PDF on my website, it helps you categorize like all your to-do things, all the things that are taking up space energetically in you. As soon as you check those off, it's like, oh, I feel like I can breathe now. And then the procrastination gets less and less as well.
Mm,
And
yeah.
all procrastination is perfectionism and the fear of doing it wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
judgment and all that.
Earlier you were talking about kind of morning habits or routines or rhythms, and I just a little while ago I had actually watched it was related to the health of Japanese people and the longevity of them as a culture in Japan, and just some of the habits that they've been able to attribute to just some of the healthier living people in that area. And one of the things for sure, and I think we hear this a lot these days, but it's hard to do. And that's, don't look at your phone, don't look at social media for, the first hour you're awake.
Right?
Because you were talking about soundtracks, you get caught up in somebody else's soundtrack so quickly. And it's almost like what you were talking about earlier, where the negativity of somebody else can bring you to become quite negative pretty quickly, and vice versa, the positivity, right? And so I think social media does have a this very bad habit of elevating the negativity rather than the positivity. It's not a good
Yeah.
way to start your day.
No, and it does become people, it's like we get a need met, right? And people
Yeah,
get addicted to drama. I know I've been there,
yeah,
right? That I finally got to a point of like, can I change? I have my motto. Does it bring me joy and happiness? Does it help me grow? And does it make me money?
yeah,
Right? If it doesn't fit in any of those categories, I don't have time because I'm on a mission, right? My mission is to really help make this world, contribute to making this world a better place than what I came into, right?
yeah.
Right,
What
dopamine
is
hit.
it? Dopamine.
When we're looking at our phone and
Yeah,
we're getting that quick, like, that's what it's designed for, right?
yeah. The algorithms are designed to do that to you.
Yeah, yeah. I've now learned to, I've added into my routine when I'm having my breakfast. I might watch a little TV. I just started doing that. I'm like, oh, this is a nice little relaxing morning instead of before where I would have my breakfast and my coffee and look at my emails and answer all that. That's like, oh, that's kind of stressful first thing in the morning. So I'm changing as well, right? Creating
Yeah,
the things that, or sometimes I just want to listen to music and collect my thoughts for the day. So
yeah. Yeah. I remember during COVID, like when we were right in the depth of it, actor John Krasinski didn't like how negative the news was, right? And he wanted to bring a little bit more positivity to people. And I can't remember what he called it, but he had a YouTube channel where it was like just positive news. But then he started to do interviews with, other actors that he was connected with, and they would do these, very highly positive kind of things during this environment of uncertainty for all of us, right? And it was such an interesting little gift I found from him that, other people found a lot of value in as well, just because everywhere else we looked, we were being inundated with, this is brutal stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I was doing, and sometimes I start and stop things, but but I was doing live videos every day and trying to put that positivity
Mm,
out as well, right? I was doing that on Facebook. And then I stopped for whatever reason for a while. And this woman reached out to me who I haven't talked to in years.
mm.
Said, Karen, where'd you go? Why did you stop? You were helping me get through this.
Interesting.
I don't have a good answer for that. So I hopped back on and started doing that again, right? But it's important, right? This is
Yeah.
why, like, I just want to really help guide people into enjoy your life. You don't know how long you have here. So, yeah.
And any additional, this has been so good, by the way, Karen. Any additional thoughts for dentists or their teams as we start to close down the episode?
We don't even pay attention to our breath. Start paying attention to your breath.
Mm,
How can you and your staff come together because you work as a team? How can you be a team together and help create a more positive environment? But again, I don't know what people's environments are like, but
yeah.
how can you help your staff if they're going through something? What can you do? And just maybe take a minute out of everybody's day and just breathe.
Yeah. Great advice. And Karen, you talked about decluttering your mind, a download. Tell us a little bit more, how can people learn more about what you do, how to connect with you? Where can they find that information?
Okay, so they can go onto my website, karentimer.com. I have a PDF on the decluttering their mind. Please download it. That one changed my world. It's a great exercise. Very simple, but it's a great exercise. And I also have a download for breathwork. So I have a video that they can download as well. And if you're I don't know what your area is, but in the GTA, we'll say, I teach breathwork classes. So, or just book a call with me.
That's fantastic. And if you're okay with this, I'll include some of that information that you just provided in the description so people can click on those links and go right there as well.
I would love that. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Be sure to share this with someone you know who would find it helpful as well. Be sure to subscribe. And until next week, keep calm and mark it on, folks. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dental Marketing Heroes podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or any other major podcast service, and share this episode with dentists and other colleagues who would benefit from it. If you have a burning marketing question, like how do I currently show up in search engines or AI? How do I compare with my competition? Or what can I do right now to start attracting better quality patients? Reach out to us at dentalmarketingheroes.com. We're here to help. And until next week, keep calm and market on.